Welcome back to Great Northern Cascade Division and Scale. My name's Ian. I have lights now on the middle deck. After I got my little $5 replacement power supply, all the lights came straight up. So now we can actually run trends on the middle deck and actually see what's happening. In the previous video, I expanded the Digitrax DCC system. I put in a 20 amp power supply, I put in a dual 5 amp booster, a pair of the PM74s for the power sub-districts. I only actually wired up like 3 of the DCC buses on the middle deck, but that's enough to make trends move around. So trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. I might take a little bit of a break over the Thanksgiving weekend here, although actually I probably won't. I'll probably be back down here doing something, but I need to figure out what to do next. There's a bunch of different tasks now that can get going on. I really need to do the skyboards on the middle deck now, kind of plowed through and got track work done rather than putting the skyboards in first, but kind of need to figure out where I want the track to know where I want the skyboards, kind of thing. Could also come back and do fascia on the upper deck. There's no real problems with light coming into your eyes like there had been on the upper deck where it was really coming down to your eyes. The lights on the middle deck are perfect. They're out the way completely, but the fascia would kind of clean it up a little bit. Might work on that. And I'm kind of putting off the helix, which is sitting right where the camera is, but I do need to start figuring out the helix, because now that I can run, mainline all the way on the upper deck and I've got over half of the middle deck done, well, now I kind of need to join the two together. So I need to think a little bit more about that one, figure out what I'm going to do next. I might do some planning, I might just do some cleanup down here. But anyway, let's go and check out a trend running all the way on the middle deck. We're going to go from Monroe over to Skykomish. Hope you enjoy this one. All right, so rule number 1, it's my railroad, which means I can run whatever I want. So Great Northern Cascade Division, hill lines. So Northern Pacific were frenemies of Great Northern, kind of back and forth. But we're going to assume that there's been some kind of problem, Stampede Pass. Maybe there's been too many turkeys trying to escape the Thanksgiving Day lunch. And so for whatever reason, Stampede Pass is closed. So we have a 20-car freight train from Northern Pacific here in Monroe that needs to head out towards Skykomish. It's actually going to go through the tunnel and east, although we don't have that yet. So we're going to take this on a run up towards Skykomish. This is also somewhat for a good friend of mine, Keith Lyons, who's helped with a bunch of different ideas and guidance over the last few weeks. He's a big fan of the Northern Pacific. He's got an awesome Auburn subdivision layout that he's building, and a lot of what I'm going for here is kind of taking inspiration from seeing Keith's layout over the years. So a little bit of Northern Pacific running. I'm sure that Keith will then point out that the stuff that's prototypically inaccurate in this, but I enjoy it. This is a bunch of cars that I have, again, thanks to Mike Pfeiffer from Pfeiffer Hobby Supplies. All of these cars, pretty much all of these cars have been replaced with those Eastern Seaboard metal wheel sets as well, so everything runs nicely. So let's go and take out this freight train, Northern Pacific, from Monroe out to Skykomish. It's going to take us about 7 or 8 minutes to make the trip up the hill. The conductor had the train moving a little bit faster than would normally be running for prototypical operations. That was still right around 6 minutes or so, a little over 6 minutes. But now here we are in Skykomish. Use your imagination. The level says Skykomish, or in Skykomish. Like I said on one of the previous videos where I showed the track work on the middle deck, I haven't got Skykomish finish. I've run out of pink foam there, which is why the track just kind of ends. But over on the far side, you'll see where Skykomish will then start to bend out. I think what I had decided was that Skykomish is going to finish up around here. And so we'll have that E-switch Skykomish and Sabai about here. We're back just to single track mainline, and then it'll start to bend away. This is mostly going to then be cut out the way. I just kind of try to figure out how I wanted to do it for where the Skykomish River is going to come in. There's a section where it runs along. There's a camping ground on this side, Skykomish Ballpark. Camped there a number of times, so Skykomish will eventually come in here. But hopefully that was fun. Those in the Mountain F units, maybe it was a little bit noisy, but a lot of the lockers that I had have been sitting in boxes, and I didn't buy them brand new even at the time. So all I could probably use just a little spot of oil. But I do like how this middle deck has turned out. It's very kind of just gentle, smooth running. The few bridges that you go across make it a little bit interesting too. The lights are working well. It's kind of interesting with the shadows. I hadn't really figured on. We've got shadows coming through here, and there's a few parts on the GoPro where there's some banding coming over because there's some lights on top, there's some lights on bottom, and so I might need to rethink a little bit. Maybe it's in here. It's a spot dark on the back, although nowhere near as much as it comes across on the GoPro. But then especially over here on that Monroe side, because of the way we come to the side, because of the way the decks are all staggered, then there's lights from the top that gets thrown down to here, and so the middle deck will also similarly have light thrown down. And so just the way that it ended up, there's a little bit more light here on the front than I was expecting, but it actually works fine once you come into an area that's a little bit more opened up. And I think the backboard and valance coming down to help reflect the light will all work. Now you just got the shadows coming through because this open grid bench work on top compared to just a flat plywood area like that. So maybe it looks a little bit weird on camera right now. And again, the GoPro light and the GoPro camera, just the refresh rate on it isn't always perfect. It actually looks really good to the eye. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And then again, things like the long bridges, Wallace River, Salton River, where you'll be coming into Salton. Let's turn around. This was Gold Bar. I was going to run that as well, but I thought, no, let's put on some Northern Pacific just to kind of show some love to the hill lines. But Big Sky Blue, freight train parked up. Again, 4 different bridges as you would go between Monroe and as you would go out to Skykomish. It is compressed, admittedly so, but I think that it works out pretty well, and it does look so much brighter down here with those extra lights in. Coming around the end of the peninsula here as well. Happy with how this turned out. Fairly devoid of anything right now, just with the track, but that's kind of how it is. It's all single man line, pretty much running all the way through, not putting in the passing siding up here and barring, just not enough space, and not really a point, since you're then going to come straight into Skykomish, and Skykomish will have probably 4 lines, and so you'll be able to have a couple of trains probably parked up. And then open to ideas, suggestions. I'm still unsure if I'm going to bother putting a passing siding in on the west portal of the tunnel. So I would cut out some bench work here to put in some, calling it the Foss River Bridge. It's not going to be the Foss River Bridge, but some kind of curved trestle bridge, because there is one just the east of Skykomish, the Foss River Bridge. But try and decide if I put in a passing siding. I think the portal is going to be somewhere around here, and so you are going to be dropping down, so it will be a little bit weird. Putting passing siding in here is very weird because then it's a long way from the tunnel, and so I'm trying to decide, do I put a passing siding in here, or would I hold traffic in Skykomish? But then similarly, okay, once we get onto the east side of the mountains through the east portal, it would then be a long stretch coming over into what would essentially be Leavenworth. So trying to decide if we do have some passing sidings in. Maybe they would be big, broad, curved passing sidings. I think that would work too. But again, that's why I need to do a little bit more thinking to try and figure that out. Get the rest of Skykomish put in place first as well. Fairly straightforward. I've got most of the track for it. But I think skyboard's probably is going to be the next thing, just so that we're not looking straight through. It made a huge difference on the upper deck once skyboards were in place. So I think that's probably going to be the next step, whilst I then do some thinking about the helixes. So hope you've enjoyed this one. Like I say, it's great to have all that work done on the middle deck. A lot of work getting all of the track laid down, getting the sidings put in place, getting that lighting up. But now that it's done, now that we can comfortably run trains backwards and forwards, it is pretty cool. And so I would then really like to be able to get from Seattle to Skykomish all the way around and through a helix. But I don't know, maybe we'll make that a stretch goal by the end of the year. I do have some time off at Christmas as well. So thanks for watching this one. Please do like, subscribe, and follow along so you can keep track of the progress as we do move forward. And we'll be back again soon.